A very wonderful evening to you, lovely viewers. You are welcome to today's session or today's episode of YDP's program that is championing a youth cause of improving youth life and youth development through youth initiatives. Today is another session and another episode to improve and develop youth and our capability, and abilities to improve their life and our surrounding. Today, we are going to dive into a very interesting topic. Interesting topic. You can also say a very thought-provoking topic. Something that we have broken down into the simplest terms, and simplest forms, and simplest meaning for you to understand and also know how you go around it or go about it. Okay. Last 2 weeks and the weeks before, we talked about gig economy and we also talked about financial literacy. The gig economy, we talked about how we can use our skills to, make money and get some income and resources for ourselves. When we also talked about the financial literacy, we also talked about how we improve our lives by, keeping some basic financial tips. Okay, some basic financial education tips, how to keep ourselves, afloat when it comes to financial resources. We promise that the following 2 weeks we are going to give you an important topic. We're going to treat Sustainable Development Goal 1, which is to end poverty in all forms everywhere. And that is what we have brought to you today. In the previous videos, I know the quality has been very low, and that's due to the stream we are using. I hope that this session has a better quality a quality video or a quality video for your viewers. And once again, I want to thank you so much, and I want to appreciate you so much for your time, and thank you so much for continuous support on our program. Take 30 seconds break, and then to freshen up our minds and then prepare for the slides or prepare for the presentation as we dive into the fight against poverty and the youth power in the No Fight campaign that the United Nations have been campaigning for years. So welcome back. I know that I think I've had an issue for about 4 minutes. Nobody was hearing me. I just noticed, and I think it's working now, and everybody can hear me well now. So we are talking about the fight against poverty. Once again, let me just go back in and brief you on what you missed or what I was saying that you could not hear. I think it was technical issue, but has been resolved. So we just appreciate you for making the time to be with us from the previous sessions to today. I appreciate you every single time that you make with us. And God bless you for trying to make a change in your society and community every day. Now, today's session, we are talking about the youth, how the youth can contribute to the No Poverty campaign that the world is campaigning against. Okay. So we'll just dive into it, or we'll just dive into it as we discuss. We've taken our 30 seconds break, which I don't know, for all the 4 minutes that we're having a conversation, the voice was muted. So let's just let's just go ahead and have our discussion on the topic. So, lovely people, here is the topic we are discussing. Let me just start my slide. Just a second. I think I'm having a little bit of just not having. Hold on, guys. I think it's my slide. I'm having an issue with the slide. But while I prepare to present, let me just take you on a stroll on our our um, our discussion we've had in the past 2 weeks. Again, we've discussed about gig economy, which is to empower the youth to understand the dimensions of the economy we are in today and how the economy is shaping lives and developing our lives. Okay, we also talked about the financial literacy, how young people can, to teach young people to understand money, also understand how money works and how we can take advantage of the system to help us, you know, uh, help us with improve our resources in order to impact lives. Okay, so that is what we've been working on, and we promised today we are going to deliver on the fight against poverty. Okay, and that is what we are doing today. Okay, so my slide is back. So the fight against poverty, youth power in the no poverty campaign, and we are addressing the sustainable development goal 1. Okay, so what you expect. So during the discussion, what you're expecting, we hope that by the end of this discussion, you are going to have an idea of uh, the world's fight against poverty and how we also give you some basic understanding of the Sustainable Development Goal 1 and also the understanding of poverty, the causes of poverty, and the youth at the forefront. What is our role as young people? We also talk about weapons in our hands. What are the resources that we have that we can use in developing, challenging this or even supporting or contributing to this campaign? Weapons in our hands, seizing every opportunity. What are the chances, or what are the things we can do to develop, our surroundings when it comes to, yeah. So why youth must fight poverty. Okay, why youth must fight poverty. What are the benefits, the direct and indirect benefits that are associated with us fighting this cause? If the youth rise, poverty falls. Yes, that is also one of the things that comes up when the youth decide that, okay, hey, we've had enough of poverty. This is the action we want to take, and then we conclude, which is basically a call to all young people to, challenge the status quo. So diving straight into it, so what the world's fight against poverty, and we have about 17 goals. Okay, so the world has come together to develop a strategy to actually sustain the world. Okay, so there are 17 goals that the world is fighting against for the next, I think it started from 2015, and they're doing it all the way up until 2030. Okay, so somebody asks, what are sustainable development goals? The sustainable development goals, like you're seeing on the screen, are a set of 17 global goals created by the United Nations in 2015. These are a universal call to action to end poverty, that is one, and also protect the planet, as well as ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. And the target is set by the end of 2030. So by the time the 2030 ends, it's expected that these goals are fulfilled, and the world is able to enjoy peace and prosperity. Okay, the SDGs are part of a larger plan called the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Okay, which is adopted by 193 UN member states. Each goal has a specific target, okay, and indicators to measure progress. So when you talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, they apply to all countries, both rich and poor. No one is exempted from it. Everybody. So United States, UK, Russia, Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, like every country is, is affected by this goal, and everybody applies it. Okay. It is interconnected. Progress in one goal often affects others. Okay, so that is the nature, and that is some features of the goals that you might want to know. They also promote inclusive and sustainable development that benefit everyone without harming the planet. So this is an overview of the sustainable development goals that that I wanted to let you know before we dive into our main topic, which is the Sustainable Development Goal 1. Somebody asked, why were the SDGs created? Now, it was created because the world needed a new, stronger plan after learning from past efforts, okay, including building on the success of the Millennium Development Goals, um, which was in 2000, which started in 2000 to 2015. Okay, which the MDGs, which is the Millennium Development Goals, was focused mainly on issues like extreme poverty, education, and health. These three, okay, which help reduce poverty and improve health and education in many countries. But they were too narrow to address all the issues, which is one reason why they came together to draft the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, and also responding to new global challenges as the world grows, new challenges happen, which includes this climate change, the rising inequality, conflict and displacement, fast technological changes, and growing global population. So these things called for a change, which included the goals. Okay, so as you're seeing on your screen, we have 17 goals, and I'm just going to run through them briefly to you as we progress and diverse into our discussion. Okay. Now, so SDG 1, which is our main topic that we are going to treat today, is end poverty in all its forms everywhere by ensuring everyone has access to basic needs like food, shelter, and work opportunities. Okay. And then SDG 2, it's zero hunger, which is to end hunger and achieve food security by promoting sustainable agriculture, better nutrition, and access to food for all. Okay, so we see that people are campaigning for agri, people are encouraging countries to go on and develop their agricultural system. And even Ghana, we've had the current administration making efforts to uh, um, improve the agricultural industry in order to make sure that uh, there is no hunger, or they also achieve food security. Okay, so these are some of the things that we are working against, that the UN is trying to fight against. And then 3, we have good health and well-being to ensure that healthy lives and also promote well-being for all at all ages by improving healthcare, one, reducing diseases, two, and promoting mental health, which is very, very important to us all. Then we have quality education, which is provide inclusive and equitable education and lifelong learning opportunities for everyone, to reach their full potential. And we also have gender equality, which is to achieve a gender equality and empower all women and girls by eliminating discrimination and violence, and promoting leadership opportunities. And we also do the clean water and sanitation, which is the SDG 6, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, making sure that people have clean water at all stages. At all stages. Okay. So this is a this is a set goal of the Sustainable Development Goals. There's also affordable and clean energy, which is Goal 7, just to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for everyone, especially through renewable resources like the solar and wind, which I know that one way or another you have encountered the progress of this particular campaign. All right. Okay. We also have the Goal 8, which is the decent work and economic growth, which is to promote sustained, inclusive, and a sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all people. We have Goal 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, which is to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, foster innovation to drive growth and development. We also have Goal 10, which is to reduce inequalities within and among countries by promoting fair opportunities and social, economic, and political inclusion. Okay, this reduced inequalities also falls within the citizenry or within the country. This is not just among countries alone, but within us, which is why it's within and among countries. Okay, so it's not limited to just between countries, but with all people and all citizens in every country. Sustainable cities and communities goals. Goal 11, which is to make cities and human states settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable with better housing, transportation, and planning. Okay, this is very, very important. All right. Responsible consumption and production, which is also to ensure that consumption and production patterns by using resources wisely and reduce waste and population. Okay. Okay. We also have 13, which is climate action, which is one of the goals that has been on the top of conversations these days, which is to take urgent action to combat climate change in all its forms through policy, education, innovation, and adaptation. Okay, so there's so much happening around that nations are working towards to battle climate action. Okay, uh, life below water. Okay, so there's also a campaign to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources by protecting aquatic ecosystems from pollution and overfishing. Okay, these are very, very relevant to us for our success everywhere that we are and every country that we find ourselves in. Life on land, Goal 15, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, forest, and biodiversity, and combat diversity. And desertification, yes. So you need to also plant trees and all that, forest and all that. We need to keep all these things safe for our own benefit. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. A very strong goal that we've been promoting, that the United Nations have been promoting actively, even way before this goal came into being. Okay, partnership for the goals. So we need to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development through cooperation between government, private sector, and civil society. So these are the goals that we are living by until 2030. So it started in 2015 and it's ending in 2030. Okay, now we will continue. So this is just an overview of the Sustainable Development Goals, and like I said, that is the overview that I'll be giving to you before we enter into our main topic for the day, which is to tackle sustainable development goal 1. So, what is the goal 1 about? Like I said earlier, it's basically to end poverty in all its forms, everywhere. Okay. And somebody asks, what is poverty? Poverty is simply a state where individuals or households lack financial resources to meet their basic needs such as food, shelter, clothing, and also participate fully in society. Okay. So this is the basic. So you cannot, when you wake up in the morning, you don't know what to eat, you don't have a place to sleep, don't have clothing, or you are unable to participate in activities of society. That is poverty. Actually, this is the definition for extreme poverty. That you do not even have food, you don't have shelter. You wake up, you don't have all these basic amenities, and you'd be surprised that over 23% of Ghanaians, 23% of Ghanaians live below the poverty line. So where the United Nations states that anyone poverty, I think it's anyone living under daily wage of $2.15 is basically, which is about 30 cedis. So anyone living below 30 cedis in a day. So if your daily income or anything used to feed yourself or fend for yourself is below 30 cedis, you are in the extreme. And research shows that Ghana, about 23% of our population is under this category, extreme poverty. And by 2027, we have about 51% of the Ghanaian population being classified under extreme poverty. Okay, so this is how serious this topic is, the effect of it. Okay, so you might be somewhere you don't know, what this is affecting people or how the effect this is having on people. But this is the statistics we have and the effect it is having on people. Poverty. Okay, so this is the definition of poverty that you might keep in your mind as you work around and you see people around. You know that there are people who falls within this category. Poverty it's not just necessarily about financial resources. It goes beyond that. Okay, not having, enjoying social amenities are all part of poverty. Okay. When we take girls, for instance, there are some ladies somewhere who do not even have a pad or, these things, this minor things to take care of their period. This is poverty, which most people term it as period poverty. Okay, period poverty is basically when girls, the situation where girls do not even have the resources to afford or even do not have the means to afford for their basic sanitary pads to even cater for their periods. Okay, so you know that poverty goes in a lot of forms. Okay, so we have to just encourage ourselves to understand all of its forms and also apply it, in our surroundings when we see people, identify them and offer the assistance that they need. Okay, so there are 3 basic types of poverty. There is an absolute poverty, there is the relative poverty, and there's the deep poverty. The absolute poverty is a state of lacking basic necessities like food, shelter, and clothing. These are just the basic, the things that you don't have, the basic things that you don't have. That is absolute poverty. When we come to relative poverty, this refers to being significantly poorer than the average income in a particular society. Okay, so in our society, the definition says that anyone living below 30 Ghana cedis is extremely poor. Okay, so we can say that people who are even poorer than those who are even earning above 30 Ghana cedis. We have deep poverty. It describes the most severe forms of poverty where people are lacking access to even the most basic necessities. Okay. I know some of these situations are in Ghana and are in some, because when you are in Accra, you don't see most of these things happening around you. But when you move on the outskirts of Accra, you see that these things are happening, and people don't even, you know, even one CD you can't get in people's pockets. 10 pesos, 50 pesos can't even get in people's pockets. It's all about go and read, get food to eat. Go and read, get food to eat. I know what I'm saying because when I was young and I was on Lake Volta, this is the life. You have to work for somebody, and after working for the person, you get food to eat. And without that, there's nothing for you to eat. I mean, that's absolutely it. So I understand when you are out of Accra, you see these things happen, okay, and you'll be surprised, but these things are there, okay, which is why the world is fighting against poverty, because it can do a lot of harm to a nation, a country, and its future. So, what is at stake for us if we do not, take any initiative to address we do not take any initiative to address how they call it the poverty in our societies, poverty around us. Then UN says that about 570 million people could still be trapped in extreme poverty by 2030, with larger population in sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana, Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria, all those countries, Togo, Benin, all those countries that surround us that you can think of. All these countries are the people that will suffer the most, okay, if we do not act now, okay. And that is the statistics that they have given. The number is even increasing. Okay, this was in 2022. This was a statistic given in 2022, which means that by now it has increased. Although efforts are being made, given the circumstances that has happened, I think that things might even be a little, dicey when it comes to this development of this initiative. But the number of individuals living in extreme poverty increased in a generation by 90 million. Okay, that is also another statistic that the UN is also projecting. Social protection crisis. There is a huge social protection crisis among all countries, especially the sub-Saharan African countries, and Ghana is one of them. Okay, so about 4 billion people are entirely unprotected. Okay, when we talk about, you might want to find out what at all is social protection. When we talk about social protection, is basically a system, policy, or program that governments put in place to reduce poverty, help people manage risk, and support those needs. Now, this this statistics is basically saying that 4 billion people do not basically have any help getting job, getting food, getting hospitals, or getting access to hospitals or basic health care. They do not have any, they really do not have any opportunity to access these things, basically unprotected. Okay, in Ghana, there are efforts being made to support their youth, to support their citizens, and support the country in addressing some of these inequalities. Some of these initiatives that the government has put up include the LEAP project. Okay, it's basically the livelihood empowerment against poverty, which is the LEAP project. The target group is orphans, the elderly, and people with disabilities, and poor pregnant women. Okay, so the purpose is to provide cash transfers to extremely poor and vulnerable families to help reduce poverty and improve living conditions in Ghana. So this is one of Ghana government's efforts to address this social protection crisis. Okay, another one that you can also think of that we know is really very popular is the Youth Employment Agency, which also seeks to employ young people who are actively seeking for jobs and also address the unemployment gap. We also have the NHI, National Health Insurance Policy, which is also addressing health inequalities in the country. We also have the Get Fund, which is also supporting education. We have the school feeding program that government enrolled a few years ago, which is also social protection, you know, mitigation policy that the government is using to, to curb this social protection crisis. So there are a number of social protection programs that government has enrolled to support young people. Okay, and then the citizenry at large. Okay, again, the share of government spending on essential services is significantly higher in advanced economies than in emerging and developing economies. Okay, so the amount of money that goes into essential services, education, um, uh, roads, social amenities, like all those things, health. Reports by the UN is saying that it is higher in advanced economies like the USA, UK, and those things than in emerging and developing economies like in Ghana. So the third world, or the third world economies or countries, advanced countries, are actually prioritizing these essential services to their citizens than it is happening in the developing countries. Okay, that is what the research is saying. And like I was telling you earlier, in Ghana, about 23.4% of the national population live below the poverty line. They're actually in extreme poverty, and that's what the World Bank says. And they're also projecting that by 2027, the number will rise all the way to 51.2%, more than half of what is there now. Okay, so that is what we are in if young people will sit and will do nothing about what is happening in our surroundings. Okay. Now, somebody asked, if poverty is happening, how does that concern me? You have no idea the power that poverty has when it comes to distraction. Poverty is, how does poverty destroy a bank account if you don't even have one? Right? If you are poor, it's basically because you do not have the financial resources to do, transact basic needs and other stuff. But beyond that, you don't have hope. It destroys your hope. And in a society where there are no hopes, it means that young people have no jobs, there's no education, no opportunities to build on anything, there's frustration everywhere. Then boom, what happens? There's war in regions and constituencies and districts. Economy is broken. And when we experience situations where there are wars in war zones, it's basically because poverty has found itself somewhere. Okay. Let me use this as an example. When Boko Haram emerged, it was because of some leadership, some poverty situations that caused the youth to rise. Although there was some kind of religious extremism, it was all as a result of. So you see, poverty caused religious extremism to rise, and religious extremism also caused terrorist attacks on individuals. Assuming that there was no poverty, how there was not going to be any uprising, there was not going to be any even if it does, it will be under, high control. But it just escalated. So poverty can absolutely destroy a nation. It can cause war to happen in any country. It lays the foundation for any economy to even break down. And also, when we talk about a particular area being a crime zone or being a crime scene or whatever it is, you know for sure that poverty is the foundation of it. Okay, so any conflict zones or poverty whisper, the first words of rebellion, all these things are basics, because all these things are because the poverty are setting. Okay. Now, youth in the front line and young people, what is our responsibility? Are we really the people to handle this? Yes, this is a high level discussion, but also a low level discussion. When I say low level and high level, what I mean is that this is at a national level, but also at a grassroots level. At a grassroots level, because it is our responsibilities as young people to fight against us. So over 60% of many countries' populations are under 30, and that means that majority of the world's population are young people, for which reason we are the major force of people to lead this campaign, to fight this campaign. Young people have the energy, we have the ideas, we have the networks, we understand technology, we adapt fast, and we are also, able to connect with the smallest of situations around us. These are the minor things that help us or set us apart and make us the ideal people. This is our power tool in the war against poverty. As in our surroundings, everywhere we go, every individual, you know, have a role to play when it comes to fighting poverty. Okay, so weapons in our hands. The question is, if we are fighting poverty, what do we use to fight poverty? Too often we come to rely on the government, okay, NGOs or even foreign aid to give us the tools we need. Okay, but what if I tell you that you already have the tools to start from wherever we are? You have phones in your hands, you've gone to school. Uh, there's so much we can just say that we can just use as the resources we have to even develop ourselves, or to even develop our surrounding to curb poverty. One, skills. You are an individual, you know how to sew. How about you know how to sew, you're making quite some good money? How about you bring in another individual? Okay, bring in someone else who does not know how to do the skills and is living in an area and is not able to take care of themselves, have no skills, has no education. Take them through your skills. Let them learn from you. Take them through the process. Before you know, they are also established. They are well vested in what you have taught them. They are established, and they can also, bring someone in and teach another person. Okay, you've gone to school, you're a graduate, you've gained knowledge, you've gained understanding. What are you teaching other people? What are you teaching the next person standing by you? How are you talking about sanitation, something you have gone to learn in school? You've gone to school, business, entrepreneurship, you've done entrepreneurship. How are you encouraging somebody to start a business? You yourself, you have a business or you are gainfully employed. How are you encouraging somebody to start a business or to start to also, how are you helping someone to also find a job? This is a tool that we have. Technology. We have phones, we have mobile phones, and we are on social media. What do we have? We have the voice to tell the world what our contribution is in the fight against poverty. Okay, let's make use of our social media platform. Let's use it as a campaign to tell the world to fight against uh, um, poverty. Time and energy. Most young people are available. When I say they are available, they have times on their hand and they are strong. You have time on your hand, volunteer with other people, contribute, share your energy, share your knowledge, share your skills with other people, and solve a problem in a community. Okay. You also have networks, your friends, your family, everybody contribute. Okay. Share with them, tell them, encourage them, tell them about sustainable development goals, tell them about how to support people, tell them about the poverty line, tell them about how they can contribute to changing lives. Okay. And this is how you continue to grow. And one thing that young people must also know is that, when we were young, we were always told that when we are the leaders, we are the future leaders. Okay, and today we keep hearing that, or we get up and we tell others, you are the future leaders. Because when you see some young people, you see some kids playing and you say future leaders. No, it's no longer future. You are a leader for today. We are the leaders for today, which means that we have to brace ourselves to fight the fight every day. Because the real fight is in the small things we do, the things we disregard, the small, the everyday chances we often ignore. When we go into a community, the small things we can hand support in, small things we can contribute in, speaking with somebody, their organizations around, their groups around, their societies around. How do we support these communities? We volunteer, community cleaning projects. We are able to organize these exercises, reading clubs, health awareness campaign. These are all activities that are minor things that we can engage ourselves. Social media to teach others something valuable. Okay, so this is something small we can also do to help somebody or to teach somebody. Teach somebody a skill, something small they know. This is your way of doing it. This is your way of teaching. This is your way of helping. Let's do it. Let's help. Okay, so we have to seize every opportunity around us to improve the lives of the people we have around us in order to improve the standard of living. Then also we can talk about the benefit, the direct and indirect benefits. Sometimes we don't know the benefits we have or something, so we don't even attempt it. One is fighting poverty. Creating jobs, for ourselves and others. Okay, we are creating jobs for ourselves and others. We are also building skills, leadership, teamwork, business management. When we talk about volunteering, you are in a community, you are mobilizing people. That is leadership. You are in a group of people, you are discussing. That is teamwork. Business management, you are encouraging people. You are in a small business, and all these things. This is all practices that develop ourselves and building our skills. We earn income. We talked about gig economy, how it affects other people. Small businesses grow over time. That's how big companies grow from one place to another. This is how they grow. Okay. We also gain respect from communities once they know that we are taking action. The society respects people who take action so much. Okay. We also have to achieve peace. Okay. Ensure that fewer hungry and hopeless people means less crime, less violence, more stability. Okay. If you hear there's war anywhere, there's because the young people are idle and they have nothing to do. So they resort to fight here and there. Once there's an uprising, you know that poverty is the root cause of it. also shape policy. You think the government is not watching, but the moment the youth right and the youth, speak up, then the government hears. The government stops for a moment to listen. Okay, that that is um, that is also about this. That is also about this. About the benefit of that's also the benefit of supporting, or the benefit of fighting against poverty. So if the youth rise, poverty falls. Let's take it this way. Imagine that 100 young people teaching others a skill. You just imagine that there are 100 vocational skills. Let's just put 100 teachers, 100 young teachers are teaching other people, are teaching another 100 individuals. What do you think is happening? They are improving their lives. These other 100 are going to also teach another 100. So, but like basically, if this 100 teach another 100, that's 200 people stepping out of poverty. If we take 1,000 young people starting a micro business, like we have in most Ghanaian communities, and this 1,000 young people helping another 1,000 young people to start businesses, that is 2,000. You see that inequality is gradually reducing. And also imagine that we have 10,000 young people organizing, we have 10,000 young people organizing community savings groups. Just 10,000 people, let's save. When we have this amount, this is what we do, this is what we do for ourselves, this is what we do. Imagine there's 10,000 of every community doing that. That's saving a community. Imagine the millions of young people refusing to be idle. This one, we cannot do it. Imagine that you are refusing to be idle. You don't want to just be idle. If you are idle, you try to find something to do that will bring profit. Poverty will fall, and there will be no uprising. There will be no wars. Even war will lose to the people. Okay, so this is my encouragement to you, that we are at the forefront of developing these things. Okay, so now my call to you is that, like I said earlier, we used to hear you are the future leaders, you are whatever. We are the leaders today, and we cannot afford to waste any more time. We cannot afford to depend on others. We cannot afford to sit back and watch poverty destroy us from within. Take what you have, the social media platform that you have thousands of followers, that you have 5,000 followers, that you have 100,000 followers. Use it as a platform to advocate against poverty. Teach what you can teach. Tell people what you can tell them. Seize every opportunity you have. Volunteer for other people. Create new ones if necessary. You are not too small, you are not too young, you are not too late. The fight against poverty is the greatest fight of our generation. Because if we don't do it, the generation behind us will come and also suffer the consequences that we are suffering today. So we need to rise. Let us act. Let us win together as young people. Fellow viewers, we appreciate you for your commitment, for following us through. And I appreciate your time for being with us from beginning to the end of this. And I encourage you all to share this link with other people who are unable to watch, and encourage them to address the social social agency, social responsibility that is on all of our heads to address inequalities in our societies. God bless you for making the time. Whatever the cases, unfortunately, we might not be able to announce our next program, but we will definitely get in touch and ensure that you receive notifications. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like our page. Don't forget to share with people. Don't forget to comment, and we appreciate you for making the time to be on this journey with us. God bless you so much. Thank you once again for your time. See you again next 2 weeks with another thrilling topic that we would come and discuss with you here live on YouTube and live on any other social media platform that YDP has. Also, if you want to support our project, kindly call 055 Call or WhatsApp us and we would discuss further how your support or your contribution can improve the Youth Development Project Ghana agenda, to empower young people in Ghana, for development. Thank you so much and see you next 2 weeks. Bye.